peak waffle. Right, why are these vlogs not getting the views? Who could say? Yeah, it just seems like summer's going to be saying goodbye and we're going to be into autumn soon. And if you look all the way there, I have now finished all of it. Say hello to the fish. Hello, it's Sunday and I've been busy, but not that busy. So there were two big jobs that I've been avoiding, and one of them was the pressure filter and the Tempest. I've not done that. But the other job was to finish off digging over and clearing stones out of and generally making tidy and healthier the earth of the border. Now, I'm trying to turn that into some decent soil, and I've put some clay breaker stuff in it, which has done something. I obviously want to dig in some healthier soil into it, and I want to, add compost and all that sort of stuff. But the first job is getting all stones out and turning it over and making it nice and even, except it takes a really long time. I think I showed you in the last vlog that I'd done a strip that was about, I don't know, a metre square at most, maybe a bit more, but it wasn't great. And that had taken me an hour. But it's still quite early. It's still like 10:30, I think, Sunday morning. And I've been out for a walk and I've done some more on the earth, which I will show you. Right, so as you can see, the garage is relatively tidy. Ignore that, that's getting sold. Which shows I haven't done anything too creative. And let's go outside. Conservatory is very messy, that's all my fault. Right, so last time on the earth, I'd done a strip about to where that post is, all the way down here to where the cat scratching post is. And now I've done all of that. All of that down here and to about there. So I've also started putting back in the drainage pipework that's buried, and you can see there is the join I had to make last week because I put a spade through the pipework, which I didn't realise until about a week ago when I was draining some water, and I just saw water bubbling up to the surface of the soil. It's not the biggest crisis in the history of pond keeping, but I'd rather it didn't happen. And so I've actually done a little bit of that I haven't put back, but I've got all of that to do, all of that to do, and all of that to do. So I would say I'm about halfway-ish, maybe a bit less. But I'm not gonna do any more of that today. Well, I might later. There's a Tour of Spain, so another bike race if you're not into bike racing, to watch. So I might do a bit after that. Don't think it's on yet though. So there's my tap. There's my pond. Pond's looking, yeah. So I did say also in the other vlog that I'd cable tied some stems of the irises because they were flopping over like that one you can see. So I think I might need to cable tie that one. I don't want to cut up that all the way back, it seems a bit of a waste, so I might cable tie a few more. There's a few that have fallen over there, and all of the plants that have kind of fallen over there is because the carp get right into those plants and dig away for food and basically break them. So I'm always fighting a losing battle with those, but I break them anyway. I mean, I cut them back anyway. Right, into the shed. Let's put the light on for change. There you go. So that's in the vortex after a day. So I did my big filter clean yesterday. So that's a day. That's a day worth of muck on the filter brushes and a day worth of muck in the static beds. And as always, some of the media is escaped. I do need to redo both of these. I'm not going to completely remake them from scratch, but I am going to add bits to them so that the media doesn't escape. But that's a job for another day. Now, the Tempest, down at the bottom where a lot of kind of algae and plant matter had got stuck, it's got a lot cleaner, and I'm not sure why. I don't know why. It's maybe it just cleared over a few weeks. I don't know, but I don't really feel like taking that apart. I might take the pressure filter apart anyway, because that needs it. But I don't think the Tempest needs it midsummer. I might do one in the autumn, winter, but it doesn't really need one now. So I might just take the pressure filter apart. Let's look at temperature. It is 17.5, which I think is pretty similar to what it was yesterday. Now, something. Bear with me 1 minute. Just gone on to wide angle. Something I'm really tempted to do in this garage. Now, what you might be able to see is all that stuff on that shelf there falls down between the very poorly made gaps in the OSB. Plus, I really regret I didn't paint this OSB, so I'm toying with painting it and sealing up. Maybe not all of the gaps, because I wonder if they do a bit of ventilation, because I don't get any damp on the walls really anywhere in here. There's a tiny bit of damp right at the bottom, but yeah, but I don't really get any damp in here at all. And it does get wet in here, and obviously this whole filter is open, and I don't get a lot of damp at all, which is a really good thing. But I am tempted to seal up and paint the walls, or at least as much of the walls as I can get to. I'm not going to really go right behind there, but I'll do as much as I can. I might get one of those mini rollers, or those mini sort of sponge brushes. But that's my plan. I don't know when I'm going to do that. And probably summer would be better, but I'll have to cover over all the filters and stuff, and there's a problem with fumes, and so I'd have to get a good ventilation in there to do it. But I don't know, it's an idea. I'll have a think about it. And I want to refix this light, because as you can see, it's hung on by Gorilla Tape. Now, I don't know if I mentioned, I think I did, I cleared out some of that when I last vaxed this room, and there's lots of ants in there, which I don't mind that much, but I tend to get bitten by them if I hang around too much. But anyway, I'm waffling. Let's go and feed the fish. Bear with me 1 minute. Right, out there, let's turn the light off and put the CCTV camera back on. Alright, off we go. Fish pretty hungry. I mean, I know for lots of people's ponds that 17.5 degrees isn't particularly warm, but I guess wild strain carp, I don't know. 17 degrees is a trigger for them to want to eat absolutely everything. But in fairness, so is about 13 degrees, I'd be honest. Right, let's go back here. I've got the dreaded selfie stick with a camera on, so they'll be relatively cautious. As you can see, not that cautious. Yeah, I spooked them a little bit. So yeah, I put out vlog 6 yesterday. I'm going through a relatively, sorry, I'm just fiddling with the selfie sticker. I'm going for a relatively funny time in the world of YouTubing. Yeah, because I went for a spell where I was getting loads of subscribers and loads of views, and it's turn that off. It's slowed right up again now. I know I kind of had a burst because I put out videos on filtration, which always get a big view. And now I've gone back to more of my usual content, I suppose. But I'm not going to fake it. I wanted to put those videos out because I kind of planned to for a long time, and I think they're relatively interesting. But yeah, I'm not going to play the game too much, you know, in terms of YouTube. But you know, it's just a bit sad it's slowed up. And now I've had a look at it, and it doesn't look like I'm hitting 1,000 until about March rather than December. And I probably won't have enough views by that point anyway. I'll probably be about 1,000 hours short. But you know, unless I can think up some really good video ideas. But you know, it will get there eventually. Well, I mean, the 1,000 subscribers will get there eventually, but the view hours is always going to be a problem. Even if I put out 2 videos a week, the view hours are going to be a problem, because the more I put out, the less views I tend to get. So it's diminishing returns, definitely. I mean, you could all help out by sharing, subscribing, liking, all that stuff. Get me up the algorithm. I jest. Do what you want. No, seriously. Yeah, like and share. Just go crazy. My common carp is just hanging. She's moved away now. I presume she's a she. She was just hanging in front of the skimmer there with her mouth open, just sucking in all the pellets as they were on their way to the skimmer, which was quite clever. She's now got a mouthful, so she's chewing away before she decides to come up for someone. But she's a bit full of them at the minute. Anyway, I've just dropped my headphones. Yeah, I think that'll probably do for today. I might do some more earth, but I'll just show you that in tomorrow's. Tomorrow, I'm going to restart Couch to 5K running in the morning, which is super exciting. I will probably not bring you along. You'll be glad to hear. And then I've got a plan, so I'm either going to do the earth again, or I need a set of steps in the garage, rather than get out the ladder all the time for just, you know, wanting to get up a foot higher. So I'm going to make a set of steps because I think I've got enough cuts of wood. So I might be doing that tomorrow, which I know is not really pond and garden related, but you know, what can you do? And I've got to get in the pond and do the jobs. I might bring the camera with me again. I don't know. We'll see. I'm really tempted to have a swim before it gets too cold, which probably means I'll do my jobs with my wetsuit and my waders on, and then just take the waders off and get back in with the wetsuit, and have a little swim. Don't know why. I mean, you know, there's not a lot of room. It's only, at the longest, it's twice my length. Bit over twice my length. So it's, you know, twice my height. Its length is twice my height. You know what I'm talking about. Not really a lot of swimming, but it might be a bit of fun. Fish won't find it fun, but you know, my pond too. Anyway, I'm definitely waffling now. I'll see you later. Good morning. It's Tuesday morning. And yeah, I spoke to you yesterday and I said there was a couple of jobs I might be doing. I'd started doing some work on the border, and I did say I was going to do another job, which was to make a step, predominantly for in the garage, just to help me to get to high things, like the ladder, when I couldn't be bothered to get the ladder down. That does make sense. Anyway, I did start work yesterday. So this is Monday morning. I've just got out of the pond after doing the pond jobs, and I did a bit more on the border, and I also started. Oh, let's pick it up. And I'll just turn you around, and I just started on the steps. And if you can see, the actual steps do have supports underneath. It's pretty. I mean, it's a really simple design. It's slightly flared out at the front, just for extra balance. So yeah, I was thinking, I think as I said many times for many jobs, I was thinking of making a fold-up version, but I just couldn't be bothered. They can slide under the desk when I'm not using them. So today I'm going to give them a bit of a sand and maybe a bit of a paint. Why not? It'll be brown or black. I've only got outdoor paint to use on wood left, so that's probably it. But yeah, I did that, and let's go outside and I'll show you what else I've done. So as you can see, I haven't tidied up after doing the pond properly. The pond is very murky. Again, as you can see, there's the lilies. Fish are right down there. I've got the selfie stick out. So, yeah, I think I did up to sort of there yesterday, I showed you. But I've now done down to there. So I did a bit more last night. So I've just really got that bit to do, which hopefully I'll get finished today. So they're my two jobs really, finishing those steps and finishing the border. And probably feeding the fish too much is what I tend to do when I'm doing stuff out in the garden. There's a secret project. There we go. Yeah, there's the fish. They were pretty fine with me in the pond today. They didn't mind too much. If you can see the carp with carp pox, I don't think you can see it very well because the water is quite murky because I've been in. But yeah, it's definitely lost a lot this summer. I mean, it should come back again in the winter, but you know, hopefully over time it gets a bit less in the summer, a bit less in the winter, and hopefully might go completely, which would be super. I mean, I'm not massively fussed, but you know, it'd be nice. It'd be nice to see that fish at its best, really. Trying to get a view of the pond as I taught you. There you go. So yeah, that's my two jobs today. Overfeed the fish, finish off the border. Well, stage 6 of about 7 million of the border, and finish those steps off. And I'll probably come back and see you in a bit. Hello, Tuesday afternoon. I've done quite a lot of work, but it's just not going to look like it. Do you believe me? I believe me, but then I know. Peak waffle. Right. Why are these vlogs not getting the views? Who could say? I don't know. Anyway, let me turn you around. Right then. So there goes the footstool. I've only been able to get one coat on it. I think I slapped the black on a bit too much. So I sanded it with my trusty sander. I say trusty. And yes, that is a hose fitting, pond hose fitting, and it fits onto my back just to reduce the muck. But as you can see, yeah, I think I slapped it on too much. So basically these slats down here, I'm going to paint black, and then the wood I'm going to paint brown. It's all wood. What am I talking about? Anyway, that's basically the plan for that. So I've done the sanding and one coat on the top, but there's no rush for it, so all good. Right, let's go outside. Let's take some food when I can remember how to open the food tub. Push the door open, drop some food on the floor, and off I go. Shut that door. Right then, say hello to the fish. And goes the feed. Right then, so more I've done on this earth. I can't remember where I was up to when I showed you this morning. I think I was probably sort of there, about there I think, can't remember. And seems like I've only done up to there, which is true, but I've also dug out to rebury the hose. Yeah, no, I've not done a lot, have I? But it does take a long time breaking up this soil and removing all the stones. It's not the healthiest of soils, and that is what I'm trying to rectify. So my plan is to use some more clay breaker in a bit, and then dig that in, and then also add a load of topsoils for all of this and some compost, but do all that closer to when I'm actually going to start putting things in it. Still haven't decided what, but anyway, it's getting there. So hello to the fish again. There's my pond, all working well. I'm just going to sit down a minute. Yeah, so it's one of those jobs breaking up this earth that you spend a long time doing it, but you don't have a lot to show for it. I think it's going to rain, so I'll just leave this quick. So tomorrow, 3 days at work, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 12-hour days. Don't know how much I'll get done. Then Friday will either be finishing the earth, I'll definitely be painting that step through it, and then Friday, can't remember what I was going to do. Need to do something interesting. It might be video editing. I might have a video out by then, you never know. Not the vlog, a proper video. I don't know though. I don't know, I might do. We'll see. It's only about 2:30 and I'm kind of quitting already. But I did start. I got in the pond at sort of 8 o'clock this morning. And then so I've been working quite a lot today on everything. Yeah. If anyone's got any advice on good things to add to very, very, very dodgy clay soil, not just averagely bad clay soil, but really dodgy clay soil, give me some tips. The clay breaker kind of pellety powder stuff has worked quite well. I mean, it is breaking up better, but it is something you have to kind of repeat doing. And I will. It's going to rain today. I was going to say I'm going to water it, but I'm not. So I'm definitely going to add some topsoil and kind of dig the topsoil in, not just put it on top, or do a bit of both, and then some compost, or maybe the compost under the topsoil. Again, advice would be gratefully received, because I'm not entirely sure what I should be doing. I really thought that was a heron up above, but it was a wood pigeon. Don't know plants, don't know birds. Terrible, isn't it? But yeah, I was going to say, we don't tend to get seagulls around here. I mean, in my town I live in, we get lots of seagulls, especially around the lakes and stuff, because most places do. But we don't tend to get seagulls anywhere near my garden. But we had a couple the other day, and I mean, I think a seagull would struggle with my cart, but they'd certainly be interested in the rud. And seagulls will just dive bomb the water. So I sent my cats out. I don't think they really knew why, but the seagulls didn't hang around, so that was good. I do know some people that have, I don't know the people, but I know of some people who have lost smaller fish to seagulls. But yeah, they can quit all that. That's not good. We don't want that. So on making that step, I think I've finally officially run out of offcuts and bits I've got that I can make stuff for free with now. So some of my projects going to need to be few and further between, really, because I ain't got any money. So I think one thing I've noticed today, especially being out in the garden a lot, is it seems to be, this is a terrible exaggeration, it seems to be quite autumnary. Autumnary, is that a word? Because there's a fair amount of leaves coming off that tree. I mean, there always is throughout the year, there'll be leaves coming off that tree, but it seems to be more of them, and it's got that cooler chill in the air, and the fish are really hungry, but nothing's new there. And it just seems like summer's going to be saying goodbye, and we're going to be into autumn soon. But you never know. Global warming in Britain, and we'll probably get tropical heat wave beginning of September. Wouldn't be bad. The only problem I have with autumn, I quite like autumn as a season. The only problem is obviously all the leaves in the pond, and my pond gets shut down for a few weeks. Well, it doesn't get shut down, it's an exaggeration, but it gets covered with a net that you can't really see through, and it's a very different environment in the garden. And then we're into winter by the time it comes off, and but it's been a good year for my pond, really. Fish have been good. I've not really had anything too much to worry about, which is quite good. And I watch lots of other channels and programs and stuff like that, and people have generally had problems, and I've not, which is super. I've not really had many problems, which is all good. Pleased with that. And I think, by and large, as I'm somebody, as long as there's no disaster befalling the pond, I don't lose all my fish, I'm not going to really adding fish. I don't really need to add plants. Got no plans to add plants. Maybe some artificial ones, but no plans to add real plants. So, unless there's parasites in the pond, but they're at a really low level because my fish are healthy and all that sort of stuff, and the water's healthy. Probably, I don't know, but you know, I think if things carry on that there are, fingers crossed, I won't have no chance of having problems, but far less likely to have problems. One thing I didn't say in the last vlog when I was talking about cleaning the end chamber in my multi-bay is what I really want to get when I have some money is an attachment to my pressure washer that on like a hose, so I can get down into that pipe work that I drain from the end chamber to the vortex with, because I want to blast that and get any muck out of it. And yeah, so that's a plan that I really want to do, because I think that's kind of like a missing link in some of my cleaning, really. And I'd like to do a few of my pipes, especially ones that have been there a long time, give them a little blast through, because I think it might be a good thing to do. Totally won't be a bad thing, you know, if very little muck comes out. It's a bit like cleaning the moving bed. I cleaned that, not really frequently, but I cleaned it quite regularly, and in the end I started to realise I don't need to. There's no dirt settling in this, I don't need to clean it. But yeah, I might find that out, but at least I'll know then. So, right, I haven't done a harebrained scheme, but I've got a harebrained scheme, and I would really like some feedback on this. So I have 4 returns going into my pond. I have the return from the Tempest, and I have 2 returns from the multi-bay and moving bed. It's basically 1 return split into 2. And I have the return from the skimmer. And I had half a plan, because obviously, because I have so many plants, that's a good thing. You know, having plants is generally a good thing, aside from organic matter and waste and whatever. It's generally a good thing. It's a net gain, I think. But behind all those baskets is kind of, you know, potential to collect muck. And in my head, I've had this plan, maybe 1 or 2 of those returns, either the Tempest return or the skimmer return, to either permanently have it going around the back of the baskets, like basically through the baskets, or at least say that's the basket and that's the wall of the pond, just shooting it around there. I don't even know if that would work. Or having some taps and stuff so I could divert it around the back of there at times, just to give that kind of a clean, because I don't want to move the baskets. When I first had my pond, plants were forever falling over and having problems, and they're really good, shall we say, and robust and sturdy. So yeah, I don't know if I really need to, and I don't know if it's a good idea. I don't know if there's better things I could do to change in the water direction. But it's a plan. I think it's probably, if it worked to any degree, it'd probably send a load of, because I've got earth in those baskets, although it's really old, probably send a load of earth into the pond, but that would fade over time, I think. I mean, the earth's already in the pond, but you get my point. And it may help to a degree in improving the kind of filtration function of the pond if the water was whizzed through. Anyway, it's definitely a harebrained scheme, I think. It's definitely in that category, which isn't to say I won't do it and utterly commit to it. Seagulls again. Utterly commit to it. But yeah, I'd like any suggestions, even if it is, don't do that, you fool, that's a stupid idea. But yeah, it's something I'm thinking about anyway. Something I'm thinking about. Because, as I said before, and in those videos I did about my filtration, I've got nothing I can really do to my filtration to make it better, really, that I can either afford to do or I've got space to do. So, and as I say, I've had a problem-free year so far. I don't count algae as a problem. So I haven't really got any great burning need to do something different with my pond and my filtration. So a project, God, I've done so many projects this year, little garden projects, but a project would be really good. The main project over the year for the pond and garden is this border, and I really want to turn it into something looking quite nice, predominantly with trees and ferns and some of those rocks I've got in the garage and some grass, and I've got some plans to put a little path for the cats to get through. Don't ask me why. I have ideas, I have schemes. And maybe with a little fence round as well, just to make it a little sort of separate area. I don't know. I did have a plan to have a kind of like an animal route for all of that, and then put a fence at the other end of the path that comes around here. I don't know why. Again, these ideas pop in my head. And normally, before I did these vlogs, I wouldn't share them with you. Perhaps I shouldn't. Maybe that's why my views are so bad. But I'm going to keep doing it, because after all, this channel is for me to do what I enjoy, and I enjoy doing it. But even I think I should stop now. So I will see you at some point between now and Friday, or I will most definitely see you on Friday, which, as I said before, for you, will be in about 3 seconds time. So, see you in a bit. Hello, it's Friday. Busy week at work. Relatively short, so three 12-hour days, which is good. But yeah, no time to do very much. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, there's lots of work. But Friday today, it's a lovely day. The strong winds have cleared the weather up, although I think the rain's returning tomorrow. But I took a chance to finish one of the, how can I describe it? It's not really a big job, but it's just an annoying, long-winded job, and that's breaking up the soil and removing as many of the stones as I could from the soil, as one of the next stages in trying to turn my borders into a healthy environment. Yeah. There's lots more coming. They'll all be fairly cheap options. Yeah, the next one, interestingly, is, or maybe not interestingly, is living things I'm going to add to it. I will show you that if you're interested in that sort of thing. And living things, a couple of which I might throw in the pond for the fish to have, because they enjoy them, especially the rudd. That gives it away a bit, doesn't it? Anyway, let's turn you around and I will show you what I've been up to. So, I have continued to do many coats of paint on this. It's not been that many. Quite a few coats of paint on, sorry, I'm trying to get it in shot. It's terrible, isn't it? There you go, that's better. Of my steps that I've made last week. And I'm just probably putting too many coats on, but to be fair, it's outdoor paint going on indoor wood, and although I sanded it all, it doesn't take the paint very well. But I want to put a load on, because then it kind of protects it from me standing on it. It's not important, is it? But I'm quite into painting, as long as it's not walls and ceilings, but painting things I've made and painting the fences even. I quite enjoy it. I know, it's weird, isn't it? Anyway, I don't think I've got any more coats to do on that. I think that might do. I will have to do some tidying up, kind of edging work on all of that, but that'll probably just be black paint. Anyway, let's go outside. I'm not taking any food because I've been out in the garden. As always, the fish have had far too much already, although they've been lapping it up. All right, let's go and have a look. Secret project with water on the roof lid. Right, first of all, I'll show you, since it's rained and obviously the soil gets wet and sinks down, even more stones have appeared, but I'm kind of done with it. Those kind of marks you can see, that's because that's where the cats like to go to the toilet. And if you look all the way there, I have now finished all of it. That back bit there, about from where the blue bag is forward and to the right, was the worst part, because it had the worst lumps of clay that I kind of dug in there. Yeah, that was the worst bit. But yeah, I have a plan, and I am going to add, what I'm toying with is maybe putting kind of a raised edge around all of that, and then through where that edging pavers are, raising that up somehow, either with more pavers or with, there's my cat having a scratch, either with more pavers or maybe with some wood, maybe with some kind of wood maybe that are used for those raised beds over there, that sort of wood, and just kind of raising it up a bit and adding some topsoil and compost and that sort of thing. Just trying to turn it into a good environment really. Hello. There's my cat. Hopefully he's not going to do something silly and jump up and fall off like she did last time. Anyway, so that's all I'm going to do on that for now though, until the living things I've ordered arrive next week. You see the bottom of that pond, there's quite a lot of fish come leaves. Quite a lot of leaves are starting to fall off the tree, and as you can see those leaves there starting to droop a bit. Yeah, so there's basically there's that bigger tree there, which I think is an oak tree, excuse me as I fall over, and there's another tree next to it, and there's some smaller ones there, and they all lose their their leaves at different rates, and their berries and acorns and whatever all fall off at different rates in different times of year and end up pretty much in there, block my pump and generally make a mess. Now if you look at the lily pads, they look like they've had a real beating from the fish, but it's not actually been the fish. There's been some quite heavy rain, and yeah, the ones that are already kind of weak from the fish have just took a bit of a beating from the rain and kind of broken up, and then the fish have had more of a go at them. And also I've got to admit, I don't help, because when it's raining out some days I just kind of throw the pellets in from the door, and which means yeah, they tend to end up more in the lilies. But yeah, I'm getting in the pond Monday as normal, and I will probably, I probably might remove a few of those lily pads that are really beat up, although they do kind of protect some of the other ones that haven't been eaten yet, so decisions. Everything's going well really. As you can see, there's a bit of algae there along there, but the algae on the rest of the pond has kind of gone away, so I'm not planning to do anything with that. It doesn't grow much longer than that. I'm going to leave that there. I think it looks quite nice, and yeah, I'll leave that. As you can see, this plant is making a break for freedom down here now as well. It's kind of taking over everywhere. This stuff that I moved from the front garden, I think is dying. I'm really bad at transporting, is that the word? Transporting plants from one area to the other. Oh well, never mind. Let's see how my guttering is doing. Yeah, it needs a bit of a clear out. I may well put some mesh across there to keep the worst of the, what's it called? The worst of the leaves and plant matter from getting in. I think that'd be a good idea. I've got quite a sore hand from all the gardening. Yes, I'm not used to manual labour. Show you down the back of my shed for no reason. As you can see, that wall of the shed seems really dry. Really dry. I need to give that a bit of a sweep. I was toying with putting some mesh across the top here, just to keep the stuff from getting down there really. I don't know. It's probably a harebrained scheme. I think if I get bored though, and I can't think of anything else to do, and I have enough material, it might be one of the things I do. So yeah, it might be something I do just because I'm looking for a project really, not because it's going to be of any great use. Confession time. Still haven't done anything with that gutter on, but the orange bucket's serving me well. I know. Spend my time breaking up earth for a vague reason. Anyway, I'm waffling quite a lot. So tomorrow it's cleaning the filters and cleaning the pond with the pond vac, which is, you know, it's just the job you have to do. It's the kind of longest job I do every week. The fish are doing really well. I have noticed something that I ought to do a bit of testing around before I talk about it properly, but I've noticed something with the fish when there's a lot of rain, and I might talk about that in a proper video, you know, an episodic video at some point in the future, but I really need to test to back it up rather than, I don't like showing that much of how bad that gutter is on the conservatory. I might show a bit more of that when I've done some testing and talk about it a bit more in depth. But I've just noticed something with the fish, and it's really just when it rains a lot. So you can maybe guess. Oh, I'm showing that bloody conservatory again. Yeah, so that's a better view. Let's get the pond in. I'm so good at YouTubing, aren't I? There you go. Anyway, so yeah, I will talk about that more, because it's relatively consistent in that it only happens when it rains, but doesn't always happen when it rains. Answers on the postcard. If you're willing to guess, there are no prizes. I'm skin. Right then, so let's go back inside a minute. It's a sad cat who can't get into the rest of the house. She does have a whole garden and litter trays and a drinking bowl, and you know, if she wanted, she's quite able of going out the back garden, going up the roof, and then into the front of the house through one of the open windows. But you know, she's just going to sit at that closed door and meow for a bit. I don't have any sympathy. Right, I'm going to sit at my work table a moment. Oh well, that worked all right. I'm a bit far away there, aren't I? Hold on 1 second. That'll do. I had a Teams work meeting the other day, and I came into the garage to do it because I couldn't get a quiet spot in the house, so I thought I'd just come in the garage and do it. It worked quite well. Right, so I'm finishing off the steps, as I've shown you, which I know isn't really pond and garden related, but I'll finish them. I've then got a little bit of tidying up, and yeah, then I'm gonna give some more thought to what I'm going to do next in the garden. So I'm ticking off a lot of the boxes really for the pond and garden, but obviously we're heading up to autumn rapidly. It'll be there before you know it. We're coming to the end of August, and then obviously it will depend on the weather when things really start to get into autumn proper. There's quite a lot of leaves on the field at the back of my house, worryingly, but so far it's not been too bad in the pond. But yeah, it depends on the weather when autumn really hits. So there's not a date you can really, set your watch by and do what you need to do. And for me, as you may know, if you follow the channel, that will mean I put some mesh over the pond, attach it to the heron fence, and yeah, it just means that leaves, I wouldn't say they can't get in the pond, but it'll be like half a dozen will get in the pond rather than 20,000. And that's not quite the exaggeration you think it is. But before that, I'll have to cut the lilies back because otherwise they'll decay and die in the pond before I take the mesh off the pond. And yeah, it doesn't close the pond down because obviously I still feed the fish and I still watch the fish. What I also do, you may or may not know, is I bring the CCTV camera down underneath that leaf mesh and netting, not mesh. I'm just going to sit back a bit. And yeah, I can still observe the fish. And I occasionally, well, quite often actually, until kind of sort of Christmas time, when I take the leaf mesh off, I'll maybe put the GoPro in the pond as well. It's probably my least favourite time of year, obviously, because you can't really appreciate the pond so much. I even prefer the winter when the plants are all cut back and the pond isn't looking its best, but I prefer it because you can just see more of the pond and it's better. So I prefer, after Christmas and into January, where very often it's the coldest, but I prefer that time of year because the pond's open again. It's one of the riskiest times of year because part of the protection for the pond from herons, as I've said before, are the plants, as well as the fence. So they work together to give the best protection. And obviously with the plants cut back, it's risky. But I try and mitigate that with fishing line covering it and making it harder for herons to get to that area. But yeah, I don't plan really on doing anything different this autumn and winter that I've done on previous years. It's all seemed to work quite well. Obviously, we're never really sure what winter we're going to get. Are we going to get a really severe one? Are we going to get a very changeable one where it kind of literally blows hot and cold? I think probably we're going to get quite a changeable one. I think that's the pattern lately, which I think is for fish keepers and pond keepers. I think especially for koi keepers whose fish are a little bit more sensitive to change than my carp are really. I think that's probably the worst kind of winter. I think a winter that, you know, descends slowly into very cold temperatures, stays there, and then ascends out of them is probably the best, really, rather than a very changeable one. But my fish did all right last year. As I say, they're a little more hardy, and they can withstand things a little more easily. So yeah, I'm not really thinking of doing anything different. The only real thing I'm going to be doing different during the winter is I'm going to be netting the fish in kind of the end of February, beginning of March time. So as winter is kind of transitioning into spring, I'm going to be netting them then and doing some measuring and looking over them and that sort of thing. I think just because, I think I've waffled on about this a few times, just because it's easier to net them because they're slower, because they are not at their summer speediness, and there's less plants to get in the way. So that's my plan. I think I watched Marek, who all of you koi keepers and koi tubers will know of. I think him and A&C Koi netted his fish at that sort of time of year, and it seemed to go really well. And I think that's probably what I'll do. I intend to net all of the carp because I want to look over all of them and give them a measure. Because the 4 common carp, when I got them, and I think for the first year or so, were very, very similar in size and shape. And I think that's changing over time, which is really interesting. I'm, you know, part of the joy of wild strain mirror carp, is that they are very different and very individual. So I'm quite keen for them to sort of, you know, the odd one to be a bit smaller and one to grow bigger and one to grow wider and all that sort of thing. So, and to see how their scale patterns develop. So yeah, that's going to be interesting. And I want to take some nice photos of them. More kind of carp angler type photos. Not with me posing like I caught them, but with them out of the water, because I think you do kind of appreciate their colours and whatnot better out of the water than in the water, sadly. So, oh God, I'm on a waffle today, aren't I? But yeah, that's kind of my plan really for the winter. I will still be releasing videos through the winter, and vlogs might be a little bit more sporadic, just because I'll be doing less. I'll be doing less in the garden and doing less in the pond. So there'll, you know, be less to fill the half an hour to an hour that vlogs normally are, but that's fine. I can, you know, maybe fortnightly or monthly, but probably more episode videos as a result, because I'll have more time to edit. I do like the idea that next year I haven't got a lot to do on my pond, apart from maybe, that's the other thing, sorry, my memory is awful. Yeah, the other thing I might like to do in the winter is my plan of changing where the outlets go on my filtration, especially probably the Tempest outlet and the skimmer outlet, and maybe sending them around the back of the plants or through that part of the pond to maybe clear some of the muck that settles there, or to stop it settling in the first place. That's my plan. I certainly need to give it a go. I'm going to do it first of all in a very temporary way, just to see how it works, and then maybe then do it more neatly after that. That's my plan for that. We'll see how that works. But yeah, I'm really settling into that period with my pond and my fish now, especially now I've got the common, and I've settled into a real routine and pattern with maintenance and stuff, that I'm just letting it all mature. And as I said in previous videos, that pond that grows over the pond that plant that grows over the pond is going to get bigger and more mature. The lilies are getting bigger, more numerous and more mature, and it's just letting everything grow and develop, and obviously the fish as well. And yeah, I want what I've always wanted from the pond, is this really mature pond with older fish who will grow as big as they can in the pond. They might not, I'm not expecting to have 90 centimetre fish, but just to grow as big as they can, and then to be sort of happy and healthy in a mature setup, and then I can just kind of enjoy it, really. That's kind of what I've always wanted from my pond. But as you may well know, I had a couple of disasters, and yeah, that didn't really happen for me. But hopefully this current setup, I've got it as disaster proof as I can have. It's never 100% disaster proof, but maybe as disaster proof as I can hope for. Right then, I have waffled and waffled. Now it is raining a lot tomorrow, so I will be cleaning the pond, but I don't know if I'll be doing any filming because I won't be up to much apart from that. So I think what I'll do now is do the outro stuff. So once again, thank you very much. If you've watched this video and got to this point, well done. You deserve a reward more than me. I want to send a thank out to Gaz's Koi Pond. He put a community post pointing people my way and getting them to subscribe, and I am now at 126 subscribers. So I am now 74 away from the 1,000. Yeah, so a big thanks to Gaz. I really appreciate that. So, and it's a kind of sort of the kickstart I needed because it had kind of stagnated a bit. So that was perfectly timed. Thanks again, Gaz. And thank you to all the people who did join. I don't always get notified about who's subscribed, and like my numbers are got, but I don't always know who it is. In fact, very often I don't know who it is. So I've not been rude in not thanking you individually. It's just I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something somewhere in how YouTube works. Let me know if you know. But yeah, thanks again everybody who's watched, liked, shared, subscribed. I really appreciate it. And I will see you next time.